Hi, my name is Robert Shelley with Shelley Law, and my law firm assists physician assistants with employment agreement and independent contractor agreement issues. Today I'm going to talk about exclusivity clauses in physician assistant contracts. And so when I say an exclusivity clause, that essentially means that whoever you're working for is going to stop you from working anywhere else without some kind of approval while you're working for that organization. Now, it will be different, or we can look at it differently if it's an employment agreement versus an independent contractor agreement. But let's kind of dive into both of those. So in almost any contract where you're employed, so meaning you're W-2, you sign an employment agreement, there should be a clause, or there will be a clause that's either called outside activities or exclusivity or something like that, that will essentially state you cannot perform as a PA for any other organization without the written approval of the employer. These things are pretty standard when you are a full-time employee. It's not that you're not getting screwed. It's just like a kind of a standard business practice to have that in there. You know, if you're a full-time employee, an employer doesn't want you out there doing any kind of other job that may interfere with your services for them. Now, if you have kind of a side gig coming into a new job, it's definitely worth discussing prior to signing the contract and also getting approval, assuming it's okay, before you sign the contract too. I'm not saying that an employer would intentionally do this, but there's just really no benefit or incentive for them to give approval beyond just keeping you happy, which many of them don't care about. So I would discuss that in advance. So that's for an employment agreement. It is normal if you have a side gig, discuss it in advance and get approval before you sign the contract. Now, as far as an independent contractor agreement, really, there should be no exclusivity clauses or outside activities clause in an independent contractor agreement. It kind of goes against the point of it. The IRS has issued kind of a 20-factor test that lists some kind of thoughts as far as whether a job is an employment relationship or an independent contractor relationship. And some of those things would be is the organization telling you where to work, at what time, giving specific patients, is there restrictive covenants, is it an exclusive relationship? If all those things are yes, then you're very likely an employee and not an independent contractor. So I would not agree to any kind of independent contractor agreement that had any kind of exclusivity clause. Kind of the entire point of being an independent contractor is it allows you to work for multiple places at the same time. And it's kind of up to you what the schedule is going to be. So do not accept an exclusivity clause in an independent contractor agreement. Now, there may also be a non-compete in both that would also prohibit some kind of activities during the term of the contract. So it would essentially kind of be a backdoor exclusivity clause, meaning if there's a non-compete, it may say for during the contract and then 1 year after the contract terminates, you can't work as a physician assistant within 5 miles of the office. And so that would be another thing that you would have to take into account. I would say it is more normal to have a non-compete in an independent contractor agreement versus an exclusivity clause, if that makes sense. I would say, although once again, it goes to the kind of like 20 factors, but if you sign an independent contractor agreement with a non-compete or non-solicit or any of those things, you need to expect that they're going to be enforced or are enforceable, assuming you are in a state that allows them. There are a handful of states that do not. So those are just some thoughts on exclusivity clauses in physician assistant contracts. If you want freedom of movement to work for multiple places at the same time, then definitely go the independent contractor route and make sure that that clause is not present in the contract. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. If you need an employment agreement or independent contractor agreement reviewed, you can contact us at the contact information listed below in the description. And I appreciate you watching the video. All right, thanks. Bye.